So my first step is to color my coffee filter. I'm making sure that when I'm coloring my coffee filter, the colors that I'm picking are near each other on the color wheel. We all talked about the color wheel a lot this year and how colors that are far away from each other on the color wheel, if they mix together, like when we're doing watercolor painting, they're gonna turn brown. So you wanna make sure that you're picking colors that are near each other, that are in the same color family. So red and orange are near each other on the color wheel. Pink is just lighter red, so it matches too. So I'm coloring this coffee filter with pink and orange and red. And I can color in circles and then they can blend together, or I can kind of color randomly and see what happens there. I want to fill most of my coffee filter because once I add my water to blend it together, my colors are going to get a little bit lighter. So this is very similar to what we did for our Crosses on the Hill sky, where we colored with markers, then we added water to use the markers kind of like watercolor paint. So we're doing a similar thing with our coffee filter flowers. It's a nice way to create a watercolor look, even if you don't have watercolor at home. So the center of my coffee filter is going to be the center of my flower. So if you think about how we're going to bunch these up later, the parts that we're going to see the most are our edges. When you're coloring, it doesn't have to be super perfect because these are going to blend together just like our watercolor we did before. Add some of my orange. All right, I think my filter is ready. All right, now before we do our next step, you're going to need something to put under your coffee filter. This is really important because if you just start adding water to your coffee filter and you're sitting at your kitchen table, the colors, because this is gonna get wet, the colors are gonna bleed through onto your table. This is not a big deal for me because I'm working at my art studio desk, but if you're working at your kitchen table and you're working on a Mother's Day gift, your mother does not want a dyed kitchen table. So make sure there's something to protect your table. I'm using a piece of wax paper. A paper plate would work. A regular plate would work because the markers are washable. They could go right in the dishwasher. The best way I've found to have the colors blend together is to use a spray bottle, but we might not all have a water spray bottle. So we can use the same method that we used for our sky and our 3 crosses on the hill with our Q-tip and our water. So I'm on my wax paper, I have something protecting my table. I can dip my Q-tip into my water cup and I can start to add water by blending it together. Another way to blend your colors together is just to drip water. So if I just stick my finger in my water bowl and kind of drip the water over my filter, that's going to work about the same as my spray bottle. See how my water is spreading my marker out? I could take my Q-tip if some areas need to be spread around a little bit more and just kind of smoosh them all together. Ooh, I like the colors that this is making for my flower. I'm getting all the way to the edge. Before you start creating your flower, you're going to have to let your coffee filters dry. If you try to do this with a damp coffee filter or a wet coffee filter, it's going to get all over your hands and it's not going to work very well. So it's kind of like a 2-step process. If we did our coloring one day and added our water, then we'd let them dry and then the next day we could assemble our flowers. So So I'm adding that. If I had a spray bottle, I could just spray very little spritz. You don't want to overwater it. And it'll start to blend together. But the other methods work really well too. I think actually the Q-tip in combination with my other methods is my best bet. I'm getting my color all the way to the edge of my coffee filter. So you can see if you didn't have something to protect your table, all of this would be on your table. So it's really important that we have something to protect our table. Now that I have it all colored, I'm gonna leave it and let it dry before I go on to my next step.